we've got some email questions. So the first one is, was it the failure of transmission line which caused the failure of delivery of energy irrespective of the type of source producing energy?
Initially, when it first happened, we were under the mistaken impression that the wind farms were prevented from getting their output into the grid. It turned out that wasn't the case. Most of the grid, the breaches in the grid, the lines on the ground, were north of the wind farms, and if those lines had been tripped, then the wind farms could have maintained their supply into the remainder of the grid.
The next question is, what made wind stop generating? The threshold settings, or was there no customer left due to the transmission lines failure?
Yeah, definitely the control system settings.
Okay.
Oh, there is one wind farm. There's a 70 megawatt wind farm right over on the Eyre Peninsula down near Port Lincoln. That was definitely isolated by lack of transmission, but all the others could have kept going.
The next one is, does the NEM dispatch engine, which allocates both the nominal generations and the frequency control ancillary services, have any input from real-time weather conditions, and does it utilise the weather information in decision making?
The short answer is no. The only exception I can think of is that we do have a number of transmission lines that are dynamically rated. That is, their rating depends on wind speed in the area. If you've got still air, their rating is lower, and it's generally a summer thing. If you've got a bit of airflow to cool them down, you can put more power over them. But even that, I don't think is fed in real time to the engine. I think it is adjusted by the operators.
Right. Okay. The next question, was there an error in the weather forecast or in the decision-making process or decision-making?
I guess there's a number of different reviews that are getting underway. There's one by the Australian Energy Regulator that will basically review all of our processes in some detail, and it'll be up to them to say whether they find that we've made an error or not. Our own internal review is that we followed the procedure and the rules as they are, and as we have followed in every other severe weather event that we've dealt with probably for the last 5 or 6 years. There were modifications following the bushfires in 2007 in Victoria to make the decision more structured, so we now have a fully structured process for evaluating risk.
How frequently is the system's FCAS needs reviewed?
They're looked at constantly, but generally they're signalled ahead in pre-dispatch. So we publish our estimate of what's going to happen for the next 48 hours, and if we see a requirement for FCAS, we signal it in that. And if there is a change, we will signal the change as well.
Another question here, what investigations are underway or being planned for the structural collapse of these towers?
I'm sure that Electronet will be doing a full and thorough investigation. I do know that it's unprecedented in Australia to have 22 towers down in a single event. I think the record up to now has probably been about 5. And the rate in Victoria, I know, is quite low, like 1 or 2 or 3 a year over the last 20 years.
Is the number of towers which come down, is that actually a record for the planet?
No. I don't know. I suspect it's a statistic that most network owners are not happy to publish.
Another question here, in the system investigation, has AEMO undertaken any studies that used pre-event system conditions tripping the 3 lines in sequence to demonstrate whether the system could survive the N-3 conditions, and if so, are those results around?
The short answer is no, we haven't done those studies, and so the results aren't available. That's the sort of what if. Like, we'll be doing lots of what if. What if the wind farms hadn't reduced output? What if only one group had and the other hadn't? So there'll be a whole stack of them before we start building our recommendations for action.
Okay, another question here. In 2004 and 5, on 2 separate occasions and prior to any significant wind generation, the interconnector tripped for a power swing caused by reclosing onto a persistent fault on a 275 kV line in the northern area close to Davenport. This is hundreds of kilometres away from the interconnector and represents a clear and known risk of separation. This was not due to lightning. Why is lightning around? Or near the interconnector, the only reason AEMO is using for reclassification?
Well, first of all, let's deal with the last one first. We don't reclassify the Hayward interconnector for lightning. It is not classed as a vulnerable transmission line. It's actually quite robust against lightning. The event in 2005 has some similarities to what happened, except that we didn't lose the whole state. Northern Power Station tripped off both units. It's a coal-fired power station at Port Augusta, and it did it after it failed to ride through a series of voltage disturbances caused by faults on the 275 kV network. Now, those faults were not lightning strikes. My understanding, and you'd have to go back and check the records, but my understanding they were caused by particular weather conditions combined with insulator pollution. So there were flashovers across insulators that caused those faults and shut down the whole of Northern. Now, Northern's a big power station, so losing Northern would have probably been of the same magnitude of the loss of power that we saw on the 28th. It would be between 400 and 500 megawatts, and it caused the interconnector to trip in exactly the same way as happened on the 28th.
Okay. Another question. The reports to date would appear to solely focus on the wind generation under abnormal power system conditions. Given AEMO's role as the system operator, when will AEMO distance itself from the investigation and call for an independent power system control engineering review of the system performance and management?
Well, I think if people are looking for an independent engineering review, they're quite welcome to ask whoever they can find to pay for it to do it. The AER will do a review against rules, procedures and so on. The AEMC is doing a detailed expert review of what this means for the future of the NEM, what lessons should be taken out of it. We've got the Alan Finkel review heading off. I'm meeting with that team tomorrow. Look, we've got enough reviews, but I'm quite happy if someone wants to have another one. The information's all there. They're welcome to it.
Okay, we have time for one more question from the audience now. So I need you to get you to state your name and affiliation and ask your brief question, meaning under 30 seconds, and I'll take this.
Greg Bennett, EESA Electrical Design. Tony, just a brief one. Over the last 12 months, 2 years, is South Australia typically net power import, or always net power import, or sometimes net power import?
It's more often than not importing, but it also exports quite a bit when the wind is strong and the demand is low. So it's not dominantly one way or the other.
One more question.
My name is Hassan Baksh from Small Mountain Corporation. I think dealing with the dynamic situation is terribly difficult, and thank you for the explanation. My question is to isolate the problem. If we would replace all the wind generators by traditional normal generators, would we have the same problem? Just to isolate, because we are trying to many political and technical issues together, and to make sure, I strongly believe this is a highly technical issue more than because of renewable. Now, how we can isolate, saying that this is because of wind or because of the status of the grid and generation, and that could happen if it's wind or is it normal generation?
I don't think it's got anything to do with whether it's wind or gas or coal or nuclear or anything else. I think it's just that we're entering an era in the power industry where we're getting more and more software controls that are opaque to us. We can't, the manufacturers treat them as proprietary and competitive advantages, and they're very unwilling to release details. I'm not saying that occurred in this case, but we didn't know about the existence of this control system, nor do we know the basis on which those settings were set, except that we do know the settings vary widely across, even with the same type of turbine. So we just don't know why it was that way. But it's like your iPhone, you know, Apple goes in and updates it, and you've got no idea what's changed. And it's
Galaxy Note 7.
and the turbine manufacturers go in and update their software and change the settings over the phone line from Germany or wherever they're coming from. Right? It's not, they don't go and climb a pole and twiddle a knob. So how do we verify what we've got is the big challenge for us.
Okay, we have one more question down the back.
Stephen Durkin, CEO of Engineers Australia. Maybe comment from either of the two of you. I mean, there's a lot of myths and misinformation out there about sort of what's happening with some of the stuff we're talking about tonight. A lot of people talking about stuff they don't know what they're talking about. A lot of people in the room that have a lot of wisdom and expertise. So my question is, how do you think as an organisation we can be better at explaining to the community some of the risks and challenges around this?
Oh, that's the $64 question. I hadn't realised Australia had so many expert power system engineers. I thought we had a shortage actually, but really looking at the social media posts, it is just amazing. Like the numbers that I skipped over there, I think it was either 21 or 28,000 or something posts on social media in the first 48 hours, all of whom had very strong opinions and were convinced they were right. But our approach has been, once we establish a reliable fact, and that takes time, we publish it. Right? And if people want to jump ahead of that and make public statements, as some fairly prominent people have done, that's their risk. But it is, I've explained to a number of ministers of the Crown that at any point in this exercise after something like this, you can be absolutely black and white sure of a fact, only to find it's completely disproven by something that pops up after another 10 hours of investigation. So my advice to them all has been hold your fire. And you can see how successful that was.
All right. Thank you, Tony. It's very important for us as engineers to communicate effectively all the issues and balance solutions to the broad community for long-term interests as electricity consumers. So today, you've pieced together the picture of what happened to cause system blackout in South Australia for us, and that I'd like to extend our thanks to our special guest presenter, Dr Tony Marxsen.